Assalamualaikum and welcome to another episode of Project Zealfit 2.0. Today is going to be another back-breaking day. As you can see on my left here on the ground, I just dragged this artificial grass from the back all the way to the front. This is because I want to cover the bare flooring as much as possible with whatever artificial grass that I have left. And the reason for that is because the flooring, the floor is pretty ugly, right? It's got paint marks all over the place. It's got it's uneven. It's got, the cement work itself is very bad, and I don't really like it. Plus, I feel that, as I've mentioned before, the color green brings up the whole place, right? It brightens up the whole space. It feels more alive. So I'm going to try my best to lay out this artificial grass. The problem is that this whole section is already completed, right? So I cannot move the equipment. I don't want to move the equipment. The problem is that then I have to cut the grass into size, okay, to fit the bare floor. That's going to take a lot of work, and of course, this thing has collected dust over the last 4 or 5 years that it's been in the last showroom. And if you just shake it, you can just literally see all the dust coming up. So once everything is done, I'm going to have to vacuum it down, and hopefully that it's as not dusty as it can be. I probably should have moved this first before bringing the artificial grass. This is the part that I really hate. Getting this weight off and then putting the rack aside, and then once the job is done, moving it back here and then re-racking. Bismillah. I think you need to love what you do. This is not easy. This is very difficult. It's, like I mentioned, back-breaking. It's a lot of hard work, blood, sweat and tears. This is as far as the artificial grass that I have. This is how far that it can go. So it's actually quite a perfect fit. I just have to cut some corners, but otherwise it's okay. The problem is that it has some spots where it has I don't know what you call it. It's not totally flat because I've moved the lockers, I've moved some of the items, and so it's very difficult to get it to be straight, but I don't care. The only thing is, now that I see how it is, I have to move the IPF platform again to cover some of the artificial grass. By doing so, at least if anybody were to walk on this grass, it's not going to move or anything like that, because we're not gluing it down. Because I find that once you glue it down, and then if you leave this place one day and you take it out, and then you'll have a trail of the adhesive on the floor, and that's very difficult to take out. So right after this, I'm just going to move the IPF platform and combo rack again. I'm happy how it turned out, alhamdulillah. I'm not too sure if I have enough to cover all of the bare flooring. What I'm going to do now is to move the platform to the rubber mat, so there's no gap in between. I think this is probably the third time I'm moving the IPF platform. If you remember, it was initially way at the back next to the SVR. Then I brought it here in front, and then I moved it forward so that I can create some space for the GHD and also the zero bench. And now that I've laid out the artificial grass, I'm moving it again inside and to the right. It is always tiring, especially when you do it yourself. So I think you've probably guessed by now that when you want to do all this stuff, yeah, you can do it alone, but it's always best to get a friend to help. By the way, I've already taken off the frame Now it's just moving it piece by piece. Not too sure whether you remember when I did the video on how to install the new IPF platform. So there are I think about 5 pieces of rubber on one side, so you need to move that, and then there's one piece of wooden platform right in the middle, and I want to move that, and then followed by the other 5 pieces on the other side. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to move this over here, flip the carpet, and the carpet is not easy to, not easy to flip, but it always flips back. So I need to make sure that it's, flipped, and then it stays there. So that means I have to move the IPF rack all the way to this side, and then fold the carpet, move the rubber, move the platform, and then fold back the carpet on the other side. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, something like that, Else, I have to drag this thing over to that side or over to this side while I move the carpet all together. But I'm just too lazy to carry everything to one side, because again, I'm doing this alone, and I'm always thinking the best way to do it with minimum physical effort. So let's just move this rack first. Flipping the carpet like so. Yeah. Let me just show you the rubber mats and also the wooden platform. That's the rubber mat. That's the wooden platform. Honestly, I really think I need to listen to my body a lot more. I can be very stubborn once I lock into something. So today is another case in point. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to lay down all the artificial grass that I have and fill up the floor which is bare. As I've mentioned before, I needed to move the IPF rack, the plate rack. Move that first. Move all the table, the small cabinet, these lockers. I needed to move everything first, and then I took the big roll of artificial grass that I have, and I rolled it down first, right, and measured it. So thank God the width of the grass that I have fits just nicely with the space that I needed to cover. So Alhamdulillah, I consider myself lucky in that sense. But once it reached to the particular beam back there, that's when I had to cut the corners a little bit. So that wasn't too bad, that was quite easy. But the fact that I needed to move everything to make way for the artificial grass, that was the hardest part. So once I had the grass already laid out, then I had to move back all this locker, the cabinet, the table, the disc rack, and the plate rack, and everything else. And then what I noticed was the gap between the IPF platform and the rubber mats that the GHD was sitting on. So I decided to close that gap instead of running another piece of artificial grass, which is pointless in my opinion. So even though that would have saved a lot of time, but then again, I thought that maybe just pushing the platform forward would be just as nice. Okay, so everything is just really compact, and that also means that whenever you have a rubber mat, and this rubber mat is not glued down, it's not the interlocking kind, so that means every once in a while it gets out of place. So by having the platform right next to it, I basically create a frame so that the rubber mats don't move. So that was the intention. Even though it was hard work to move the platform again, to disassemble the combo rack, carry it away from the platform so that we can move the platform, and then have to reassemble it again. It was too much work, but I think the end result is rather satisfying. Okay, the next thing that we did was to fill up all the other gaps between the racks and the other rubber mats. Also on the other side, same thing. And the problem with dealing with the artificial grass is because, like as I mentioned before, it has collected a lot of dust over the last 4 years, and I never vacuum this grass anyway because you don't see it. Even if you step on it like that, I mean the dust doesn't kick up. So I've never really vacuumed it, but once I had to carry it around and move it from the initial showroom down over here, and you see all the dust and all the whatever crap that was stuck inside the grass, right? So I made sure that after everything is done, I vacuumed the artificial grass. That took a lot of effort as well. And then obviously when moving the grass from the storage area all the way up to the front, all the dust that I was talking about, it was just everything was just it was in a mess, right? So I had to vacuum everything, and after doing all this and then doing the cleaning up, I'm exhausted. I'm really exhausted, and I hope this is the last. I don't foresee anything else that needs to be done. One more thing. The only thing left is to bring the jerk blocks upstairs. So that requires a few people to do. And after that, inshallah, I believe there's nothing else. Today, alhamdulillah, as well, the water dispenser has been hooked up. So we have cold water now, we have ice, which is good. You know, it's especially hot here in Malaysia right now. And so that is done. So alhamdulillah, we'll have cold water. And then I also called up another aircon guy just to get a quote to move the previous the aircon that I have in the previous showroom over here. Unfortunately, after 1.5 months, I still cannot sell them off. Apparently, not a lot of people use those type of aircon, so I might as well put it here. And especially after this past weekend, which was really hot, when I went upstairs and I didn't, the windows were closed and the fan was switched off, and I was just there for about 10-15 seconds. I was sweating because this place, the top floor, there's no ceiling, right? The ceiling is the roof itself, so that's direct heat from the roof coming into the top floor. So after that, I was thinking, I thought to myself, maybe I should bring the aircon here, even though this is a huge space without any a room per se. It's like an open space. I think having an aircon on a hot day like this past weekend would at least alleviate the scorching heat that I felt the other day. So I thought, okay lah, what to do? If the electric bill is too much, then I guess that's the price you pay for a little bit of comfort. I'm going to bring both of the aircons over, inshallah, depending on the quote that this guy is going to give me, because he's going to come here to do a site survey and see what sort of copper length that he requires, and then only then he can quote me a price. So I'm hoping that he is actually cheaper than the previous guy. Today, I am done. I am done. I just want to go home. I have dust all over myself, and I just want to take a shower and then do some work. I've been ignoring them for the past 2-3 weeks, and I think it's time to catch up, especially on my sales. I need to catch up on my sales as well. Okay, folks, that's it for this week. That's it for today. If you like the episode, click the like button, and if you're new to the channel, do subscribe, turn on the notification. We have great content and I hope that this channel will grow bigger and bigger, as well as the business, obviously. And thank you again for watching. Until the next episode. Yes, we have 1 or 2 more episodes left. Well, not 1 or 2 more, a few more episodes left before we totally complete this whole project. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Bye guys.